video, and when I got over to San Francisco, my system was struggling. So what I'm doing today is I have the frames, frames per second on right now, and what I want to do is look at the settings here. What I did is under the global rendering quality, there's 4 different modes that you can do. You can do low end, you can do medium, you can do high end, and you can do ultra. And then when you do ultra, this is using DX11, the former or the current. They're working on DX12, but it's still beta. So I'm using DX11. I do have VSync on. I have a pretty high refresh rate on my monitor, so I'm using 100% refresh. And the NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency on plus boost. And I have the NVIDIA. This can only be used with the RTX graphics card, which I have, which the 2080 Super is. But this right here is all the ultra right there. And I'm just curious. And then data, I have, not data, but on traffic, I have these settings are low. When I maximize these settings here, this really does a big strain on the system. So I just leave this where it is. I like to have fauna density, at 100%. There's not a whole lot of fauna that I see anyway. But road vehicles at 50%, so it's like maybe flying on a Saturday or whatever. And then all of the other, pretty low. It doesn't really matter anyway. But looking at the graphics here, I'm looking at the different settings here with the global rendering quality. So let's go back and fly. And so this is what I'm getting flying toward the airport there, toward San Francisco. And this is real-time weather. Of course, there's a lot of cloudiness there right by the ocean, as is normal this time of year in San Francisco with the clash between the cooler air and the warmer air. I have the the live airplanes, and I want to go into the drone here, and we'll do an F6 to speed it up, and then we'll go down. And I just want to see, this is all ultra settings here. I remember with Microsoft Flight Simulator 10, you'd be happy to get maybe 22 frames, 24 frames a second. And this is 50. I have a high-speed, high-speed internet, gigabyte download speeds, and at any rate, we're getting toward the airport here, and getting down to about 33, really getting into some data. Okay, now it's really starting to struggle. And so let me go back to the plane, and it kind of struggles getting back to the plane too. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and do all of that again at the low end. Apply and save. And so at the low end, you got everything low, 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 low. Go back, resume, and so F6. I'll speed that up again. You still have the photogrammetry there, but going toward the airport, that's one of my concerns there is how much data can be processed. This is all photogrammetry. F6, let me speed that up a little bit more. Let me speed that up. And so we have all the live traffic there, real planes. And it's still struggling around the airport. even at the low end. So that just shows you how much data, and then how much data is required for these really busy airports. Alrighty. So what I want to do now, let's go back into the plane, see if I'm flying okay, everything's okay. Let me go ahead and back off on the mixture a little bit. I have it on autopilot. And what I want to do now is I want to go back to that global rendering there, and we're going to do ultra, and then we're going to tweak things. Now again, the one thing that I tweak that really makes a difference is traffic. If you back off on your traffic, I have the real time online. I like to have real time online, and I also like to have the nameplates on, and I like using Flight Radar 24 to find out where these planes are coming from and where they're going. That's just something that I like doing. The only thing I wish they didn't have is this big old huge banner there. This is fine, and I wish this banner was transparent, because then when you get them all together there, that's what it looks like, and I don't like that. But anyway, here we are again at the did I make it so? Yes, I made it so. So here we are going over the airport, or going near the airport, and we're looking at the airport now, or looking toward the airport. It's drawing down a little bit. I noticed the one thing that really makes a difference whenever you're doing this is if you increase you got object levels of details at 200, and then you have your terrain level of detail at 200. If you increase this to 400, apply and save. Let's see what happens. Go back, and that does a big draw there, a big draw on your power, or on your system, the RTX 2080 Super. And so I think that even bringing that down to 200, or even maybe a compromise 175, and bringing this down to 100 object levels of detail. There's a web or a YouTube channel. He describes the different what all of this does. But I'm going to apply and save there, and go back and resume. And so that gives me a pretty good frame rate there. Looking toward the airport there, that's when it's starting to draw down a little bit, but not too bad. So I want to fly over San Francisco, and then we'll get our drone. San Francisco's straight ahead, and I want to get our drone and just kind of look at what that's going to do to the frame rates at these settings, and maybe we can tweak a little bit more to optimize it. So F6, or not F6, insert, now F6 to speed up the drone, and off we go. And we'll go down here, and there we go. That's one of the, looks like a dock. So we're running about 46, 40. This is something that Microsoft Flight Simulator 10 you would want even while we're peaking at 60 here. So I'm thinking that now, that's what I don't like, is whenever you move around and then it just kind of struggles a little bit. Move around. Yeah, it's reading that data, and then it stops and it struggles. And I'm wondering if there's anything that we can do to remedy that. So we are going to go ahead and back off on some things. The motion blur maybe high, depth of field high, bloom, turn that off, and that's just a lens bloom there. Light shafts maybe high, ray march reflections high, cube map reflections maybe turn that to about half. There's 4 settings there, so about half. Ambient occlusion, I think, now this is a big draw on your performance, but I always like to have this on ultra. Even in VR mode, I like to have ambient occlusion on ultra. Windshield effects, ultra. Contact shadows, maybe high. Terrain shadows, there's 512, there's 256. So 512, let's do half on that. Let's do shadow maps here, half on that. We got water waves. It's just 3 settings there, right? Low, medium, high. Texture synthesis, maybe high. 6x6, maybe that 4x4, make that 8. Texture resolution, we'll do that high. We got volumetric clouds. This is one thing that I always keep on ultra as well. Grass and bushes, high. Trees, high. Buildings, high. Terrain vector data, high. Precaution, let's do that high. We got everything else about, and it might say that I might have to restart it. Yeah, you must restart your simulator before the changes can take effect. So we won't get the full, but we'll get some of it. Well, now I think it's a little bit smoother. I'm moving the drone at full speed, and it still does a slight hiccup. But let's go back into the plane here. So we're pushing around 48, 62. This is what's drawing the data, and that's what I want to concentrate on, is whenever you have data in the city, kind of like your mileage may vary, so I'm wanting to have a decent performance at the high velocity airports. So that's not bad. Of course, whenever you're moving in and around in your drone, F6 again to speed it up. I like speeding it up and then just zipping on it and then seeing what kind of reaction we have. So all the way up. I think that looks good. It kind of, if you're moving along at the plane speed, you know, there's a few draws there that happen, and I'm wondering what we can do to change that, the draw there. Sharpening, object levels of detail, maybe turn that up a little bit. Train level of detail, apply and save. See how it's kind of drawing it in. I think that's what we'll stick with. I'm wondering what if we bring this up to 200. Leave this alone. Bring this up. Well, there's 200 there. Supply that. See what happens. Must start, restart. So that drew it down. And there's a little bit of, see how it's kind of hesitating there? So bringing this number down here to 100. Apply and save. Go back, resume. Less hesitancy. We're getting about 55. Still hiccuping a little bit, just a tad bit there. So I'm wondering what's causing that. Train level of detail, 150. Go back, resume. Now it's really starting to hiccup. Just trying to smooth it out here. Apply and save. Well, that's smoothing it out a little. Well, it's just kind of frustrating whenever you're flying over it and it's just hiccuping like this. And it doesn't seem to be the train level of detail. I don't know if that's causing it or well, that smoothed it out. No, it didn't. I think it's data that's being read in. It doesn't really have anything to do with graphics at all, I don't think. So let's go. Let me go back to the global rendering quality and go to the low end and see what happens. Go back, resume. So that's low end, and it's still, that's something else too. Anyway. $79.80, but we still have a little hesitancy even at the low end. So I guess that's just par for the course there. So we'll go ahead and go back to our ultra. This is ultra. Everything ultra. Resume. This is everything ultra. There's my plane. And so I'm wondering, I have, okay, back that off, maybe medium there. Let's do medium. Building high, trees high, grass and bushes high. Object level detail, let's cut that in half. Volumetric clouds, I always keep that high. I just like to have that high. Let's do the text resolution medium. We'll do, there's 2, 4, 8, 16. Let's do 4. A 6x6, 4x4, 2x2 off. Let's do 4x4. Let's do medium there. Water waves, let's do half here. Half here. Medium. I like the windshield effects. I just like it. Ambient occlusion. I like that ultra. Cube map, half. Let's do medium here. Light shafts, medium. Bloom off. Depth of field, medium. Motion blur, doesn't matter. Low. Let's put low on that, or off. Refresh rate for the cockpit, I always have that at medium. Seems like that. It's 60%. There's the Golden Gate Bridge there. It's kind of working okay. F6. Bring it down. Say we're flying through the city here. Yeah, it's just I don't know what's causing, you know, it to hesitate like that, but yeah, I don't know what else to do. I mean, if we do VSync off, that then there's I don't think that's going to make much of a difference here. Go back into the drone. F6 to speed it up. Now we're in the drone. Yeah, it's still hesitating even, well, seems like maybe doing a little better without the VSync. But I have a high refresh rate on my monitor, so I have a 24-inch monitor. So 48, 49, 48. Let's go ahead and go back to VSync on. About the same. All right, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and stay with these settings here. I have the NVIDIA DLS Super Resolution Auto. I can do quality, balance, performance. Let's do ultra performance and see what happens. Of course, some of this has to be, no, I don't like it doesn't even look good. Let's put it on quality and see what happens. Let's see. Plane here. There's Alcatraz. This is quality. Let's go ahead and turn our plane around so we don't crash into any mountains. So we're getting about 45 over the city with traffic. 62. That's with the quality setting. I was talking about how we had to restart the sim. So what I want to do is I want to do that. So we'll go ahead and quit the desktop. And then we'll restart the sim. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find Palo Alto, but then I'm going to start in the air a little bit over San Francisco. Adjust the time to daylight so that we can see things. And I think I got quality. I don't know what quality did to some of those numbers that I adjusted. Okay, so here we go. We'll go select departure. And that's KPAO. This will bring us into the area there. And we'll back up the time. And what we want to do instead of doing that, though, we want to start over San Francisco somewhere, probably about right there. Set as departure. And let's make this about 5 o'clock. Be good. Load time. Turn on our frames again. Debug, frames per second. And ready to fly. So we'll go ahead and go B. We'll do autopilot on. Okay, autopilot was on. Roll pitch. So we'll B did our altimeter. So we got 73, 74 with that restart. And heading select. It's not bad. It still hesitates a little bit, but traffic behind us there, those real-time planes. Let me go ahead and tweak some things, and this is pretty much the optimization, I guess. We got NVIDIA DLSS Super Resolution. I got it on quality. VSync on. NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency on plus boost. 100% refresh rate. We've got off-screen terrain pre-caching at medium. Terrain vector at medium. Buildings at ultra. You can probably back that off to high. Trees at high. Grass and bushes at high. Object level detail 100. This is the big one right here. This right here, if you have this one right here at 400, this really does cause a big struggle there. Let's go back, resume. See, that brought it way down. So that's the big struggle right there. So we'll go ahead and bring this back to 200. Apply and save. Go back. I don't know if there's a whole lot of difference when you're in the plane. $69.70. I could probably tweak it up a little bit. So, maybe 230, 125, 69.70. So that didn't really. So we'll keep it. Okay, and then the other things that we have buildings on high, trees high, grass, bushes high, clouds ultra. I always like the clouds to look real, and if you have anything less than that, they look less real. And to me, weather is important. Of course, we're not doing this with a whole lot of weather, but we got motion blur off, everything else off. It looks good. We could probably even add, a little bit on there, low, depth of field, maybe high, light shafts high, ray march high. Apply and save. Maybe look at a little bit, and still we got 60, 70. I think that's a wrap. I think anything more, you need a higher graphics card, which at the time when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, the 2080 Super was, well, they had the 2080, what was it, the GI or something like that, or XI, or I forget, but there was a one above the 2080 Super. But now there's higher rated graphics cards that are available. And so I think that in order to get, and of course Microsoft, the team is still working on getting higher graphics cards available. So what we're going to do then is we are now going to, I guess we'll just go ahead and stay with these settings. This will be my optimization recommendations then. If you have the 2080 Super, let's boost that up to high, apply and save and see what happens. So yeah, that brought it down. We're still pushing 60. And I remember with FSX, if you were getting 30, you were happy. A lot of times you were getting 12 frames per second. 20 was good. And so we're getting over 60. So my graphics recommendations would be quality, VSync on. Let's see if you have a high refresh rate on your monitor, which I do. Reflex low latency on plus boost. Let me go ahead and take this thing off so we can see the description here. DX11, DX12 is still being worked on. Of course, the rendering quality is custom. You can do low, medium, high, or ultra. And what we did is we went to ultra, and then we went off of that. Train level of detail 230. Off-screen pre-caching high, 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 high. Clouds ultra. Texture resolution medium. For the now this affects your performance, so I brought it down to 4, and this affects your performance, so I brought this down to 4x4. Texture synthesis, this also affects your performance, so I brought it down to medium. Water waves, we can do medium, apply and save. That affects your performance. Water waves, shadow maps, I brought that to half of what what it was at ultra. Terrain shadows also, this all affects your performance. Contact shadows, I brought that to medium. Ambient occlusion, I always like to have this at ultra. It looks better at ultra. So it does affect your performance, but with all the others, I think this is important to have that at ultra. This right here, I brought that down. Ray March brought that down to high, high. Bloom off. I mean, this is just whenever you're looking at the sun and you see kind of like that lens, like you're looking at the sun through a camera. Actually, we can have that on. I don't think that on. It doesn't really affect your performance, I don't think, very much. A depth of field, I got that on high. Motion blur, low, doesn't matter. Lens correction off. Lens flare on. And then refresh rate on your glass cockpit medium. That looks good to me. So that's it for the optimization. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do some flying, and we'll go ahead and do an RNAV approach to Palo Alto. So we'll do this. We'll go to 4,800 feet. We'll do a flight level change, and then we'll bring our speed down to about 75 knots. Bring that. That'll bring us to about a good. That'll bring us to the Y. I gotta increase my power a little bit. I'm gonna also put on
NorCal approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray
communication.
Sierra
Let's
Alpha.
go ahead and
This
put our
type Cessna
debug
Skyhawk 9
frames
miles
back on.
northwest of Oakland, 1,300 feet. Request
This is with
clearance
all
to
of
transition
the
Charlie airspace.
everything drawn off of the graphics card and everything drawing off of the CPU.
Squawk 0 Tree 25 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
So I'm November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie, but because I started in the air, I am now
Cleared through the Charlie airspace Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Golf Sierra Alpha, even though I'm still in. Whenever you start in the air, you're Golf Sierra Alpha. You don't have a choice. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to be flying over the airport, and we'll see how that affects our frame rates. And what I also want to do is I want to put in on our computer Palo Alto. So we are going to go ahead and put in our flight plan a destination here, and then that's going to be Palo Alto. So I'm using the Microsoft keyboard, KPAO, and then take that off and press enter, and then that's good. En route, we don't have to do anything there. So we got our flight plan is to Palo Alto. We'll do it direct to Palo Alto. We'll go ahead and press enter, activate, and then nav. So that brings us direct to Palo Alto, right over the airport and whatnot. Well, right beside the airport. So what I want to do now is I want to do an RNAV approach. So we got Palo Alto in there. There's the airport. And now looking at the graphics here, I think it's acting a lot better than it did the other day when we flew into Palo Alto. It was just really struggling. And this is over photogrammetry areas with a lot of airport activity. And that airport right there, the traffic, that's what draws a lot of the CPU, and really becomes a bottleneck. So I'm interested in what if anybody's watching this later on, what your feedback is, and what your opinions are about these settings here. So again, looking at the settings really quickly, the traffic I have low. I have this really draws your from your CPU. So everything is low except for road vehicles. I got at 50%. Everything else is pretty low. And but once again, this is my optimized settings. Anti-aliasing, NVIDIA DLSS super resolution, quality mode, sharpening, I got it at 0, VSync on, boost, frame rate. If you turn VSync off, then this goes away, but it's on. It's using my monitor, which is a high quality monitor, 264 I think refresh rate, and then all of these high, 125 ultra, medium, 4x4 medium, 1024, 512, medium, ultra, 128, high, on, high, low, off, on, medium. And we'll go ahead and just say apply and save.
16,000 feet, keep speed, not above 270
So this gives us about 60 for the most part, except for when it comes to the traffic area.
Climb and maintain 16,000 feet, keep speed, not above 270, North American 1430. American 1430.
I'm not getting
climb
the
and maintain flight
pagination
level 220,
as much
keep speed, not above
as I was
260 knots.
getting the other day.
Climb and maintain flight level 220, keep speed, not above 260, North American 1430. American 1430, contact Oakland Center on 127.45. Good day.
So anyway, going back to the computer here, we're going to go ahead and put in an approach, an RNAV,
127.45
and we'll go ahead and go to
1430.
SAPID, and then we'll load that. So what that's going to do is we are going to fly over KPAO, and then we'll go ahead and do the approach, initial approach fix, safe bid. Actually, what I can do, looking at this, we're just going to go to Yerkes. How about that? So we'll go ahead and highlight. Okay, flight plan. Let me get off of there. Okay. Bring this down to Yerkes and do a direct. And we'll activate that. So we are now going to go to Yerkes, and then we'll fly right around. We're going to go to Yerkes at 4,800 feet. This is our flight plan now. So Yerkes at 4,800 feet. Go to DoCal, and then go on down to the runway. You know, the more I'm looking at this now,
Descend and maintain 5,000 feet, American 1430.
this is real-time weather. It's 57, looking at the airport. That's what's doing the draw there. The draw on power. There's another airport over there. Between airports. I guess it's between Oakland and between San Francisco. That's Oakland there, right? San Francisco there. I'm going to go ahead and boost it up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and do let's do that ultra. Water waves high. Texture synthesis high. Water waves high. Contact shadows high. See what happens. Must restart the sim.
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet, American 1430. Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha contact NorCal approach on 124.4. Good day. American 1430 descend and maintain 3,000 feet. NorCal approach southwest 2004 is missed approach at Oakland.
124.4 for Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha. NorCal approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 4,800 feet.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha NorCal approach altimeter 29.908 continue as planned. Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha contact NorCal approach on 135.65. Good day.
135.65 for Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha. NorCal approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 4,800 feet.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha NorCal approach altimeter 29.907 continue as planned.
So what the big draw is the traffic in the cities. And of course I have the labels on. Let me turn the labels off and see what happens. I like to have the labels on though, because I like to know where the planes are coming from. So we got traffic right there. I wish you could reduce the size of the nameplates. That doesn't seem to make much of, well, maybe it does. No, it's still doing a draw. $35, $38 whenever I look at the airport. So general options, traffic, I like the nameplates on. But I wish again, if anybody's watching this and you know how to reduce the font sizes, that would be great. And if you have any recommendations on the graphic settings, what does what, please leave it in the comments. I'm not very too knowledgeable on computers anymore. I used to be whenever the 286s came out, the 386s and 486s. But computers have advanced quite a bit since then. And there's a lot that I don't know. But this is real-time weather. There's like a haze over the San Francisco area right now. And to me, I think the photogrammetry looks okay. It's not as bad as it was the other day whenever I first flew in. I got a live video when I flew in. Hi, Barista Mike. Yeah, another update coming out tomorrow, so lucky 13. Hopefully it's lucky. Yeah, I'm hoping also that the comm panel, the comm panel doesn't work in the Cessna Caravan after update 12 came out. So when update 13 comes out, hopefully they got that fixed. We'll find out. So what we're doing is we're doing an approach. I did a direct to Yerkes. We are actually skipping the initial approach fix, which is over here. That's Sierra Alpha Papa India Delta. We would have been flying here over this group of mountains there, and then flying to Yerkes. But I went ahead and just did a direct to Yerkes, and what that should do. Let's go ahead and look at that. Push the button there and zoom in. What that should do is we'll go to Yerkes right there, and then we'll do a 90 degree to DoCal, and then from DoCal do another 90 degree, and then we'll start our approach to runway 31 at Palo Alto.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha contact NorCal approach on 120.1.
We're getting a little bit away from all the traffic now.
120.1 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha. NorCal approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 4,800 feet.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha NorCal approach altimeter 29.99. Continue as planned.
Yeah, yesterday whenever I was flying in, I had a lot of ultra settings on ultra, and I think the biggest thing was this part right here, the train level of detail. I think I had it at 400. Let's do it at 400 again and see what happens. Yeah, that brought it down quite a bit. And that's why my system was struggling yesterday whenever I was coming in for a landing. The other thing too is if you fly into a photogrammetry area that hasn't been loaded into your cache, see how when I look straight there and it's just like, let me think about that. So this right here is the biggest draw. So let's do 175. See what happens. Apply and save.
Southwest 1675, you are 11 miles east. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors. Visual runway 30 right approach.
That's 175.
Maintain
I think the 200. Apply and save.
Heading in altitude, expect vectors, visual runway 30 right, approach
25.
southwest 1675.
Seems like once it reads in, then it. But anyway, the other thing I was going to say was whenever you fly into a photogrammetry area, what was that data right here? It reads all of that data in there, and that's a big. And I have the bandwidth. I have it unlimited, rolling cache on, and but anyway, I was just flying into the San Francisco for the first time, and it was reading all of that data in there, and I think that was a drawback too. So, but I think this is the settings that I'm going to keep. So 200 on the train level detail. That works for me. There's our airport right there. Palo Alto. I think that's it. Maybe not. I know there's a golf course right by the Palo Alto airport. So what we'll do is we'll go to the Palo Alto airport and we'll go play golf. Let's go back to our drone here. F6. Yeah, that's not our airport. Trying to figure out where our airport is now. There's a golf course right by it, so. F6. Well, there's the golf course. There it is. There's the golf course. That's the other half of the golf course, but that's the runway we're going to be landing at. And so I'm getting 37, 30, 50. Now, if I was in a jet, an F-18 going low here, but if I'm going in a Cessna, it's still bouncing around a little bit, but not as bad as it was yesterday. Flying over a mine right there. That's the thing about electric cars. Electric cars are good and all, but there's going to be a lot of digging to get the batteries. So I'm not sure if electricity is the answer.
Southwest 1675 descent and maintain 3,800 feet.
Yeah, I wish they would fix the ATC. I think the, you know, the ATC has a lot to be desired, that's for sure. Yeah, Mars, we can dig up all kinds of stuff over there. Yeah, troubles with servers. Yeah, that's for sure. I have pretty high-speed internet, which is definitely a plus. But sometimes there's just things that go on with data that's just beyond our control, no matter what settings we have. So I'm getting 62 here. Looking here, still some more photogrammetry. Getting about. And again, back in the FSX days, 35 was great. So we are now about ready to make our turn. You know what I didn't do? I didn't adjust our altitude. Go ahead and adjust our altitude. I think it was 22. And I'm going to go ahead and hit my VNAV. So we should start descending. And then once we get on line there, I'm going to go ahead and hit approach. So 4800. This one also was 4800. No, 45 to DoCal. So are we descending now? We are. VPath is active. Oh, I'm glad I caught that just in time. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce our power a little bit. And then we are now going to make another turn toward the runway. Let's see if we can go ahead and load our approach mode. Yes, glide path is loaded. So we are all set up. Look left here and see what happens to the frames. Not bad. That's photogrammetry down there. And Barista Mike, what is your opinion of the graphics settings right now as they are? Do they look pretty realistic, or what do you think? I could probably upscale some things without, I mean, I'm getting 60 right now looking straight ahead. I'm going to go ahead and say thank you very much, NorCal. Well, I guess I can't. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and we will go ahead and contact. Is it within range? Number 4 right there. Tune the traffic. Select runway. We're coming into 31. Full stop landing. Nope. Back. Full stop landing. And then position.
Palo Alto traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 11 miles south 3,000
looks good. All right.
feet
Thanks.
inbound to land runway tree 1.
And it's kind of hazy here in California right now. This is real-time weather. And again, I like to have the weather on ultra. That's the one thing that, the other thing too is windshield effects. And I'm wondering how that, how these settings are going to, be affected whenever there's rain hitting the windshield and whatnot. But, yeah, I think that looks good to me too. Pretty smooth. I'm getting real smooth here. 60, 63 looking out the window. Tearing forbidden. Says right here, tearing forbidden, and that's because I have the VSync on, and so there's no screen tearers. And with a higher refresh rate on your monitor, you have VSync on. If you have a lower refresh rate, then it's good to have the VSync off, but then you will have some tearing, kind of like some ripples. So we are on our glide path, or not on our, we are on our V-speed vertical path. Glide path is not active yet. There's the runway over there. We got again, we have about a 15 knot crosswind coming in, just like we had the other day. Yeah, RTX 2060, that's pretty good also. I think down the road, this 2080, I actually bought this computer for this simulator when it came out. And it's so far, it's held its ground. It's a water-cooled system. I have an iBuyPower with a 2080 Super and the i7 CPU, but the only thing is that it kind of rattles a little bit now, and I looked that up on YouTube, and somebody was saying that that's just some bubbles, and it actually does get louder whenever I have all the graphics going and whatnot. But what I do, and I heard this as a recommendation, is there's the glass side. I take that off. Okay, the GP is now active, and I'm going to go ahead and slow down, and we're turning just a little bit more toward the airport there. But what I do is I take the side off, and I got this little fan, just it looks like a computer fan. It's a blue little fan. And I turn that on and point that right toward the graphics card, and in my opinion, I think that keeps it cool. I have had problems with the old NXI, the version, the add-on version, the NXI. I've had problems with computer crashes, but now with the default NXI, I disabled or uninstalled the previous version of the G1000 NXI and put in the default. I haven't had any crashes. So we're coming in again at an angle. I don't know if this is what it's supposed to be, but with this particular runway, you can see the runway going in that direction. And so what we're going to do after the 500 call out, go ahead and let me go ahead and slow down quite a bit more now. But we'll go ahead and go manual, fly by hand. 47, 54, look over here. It's a lot smoother than it was the other day. Traffic at 50%. That looks real. So flaps down. Going to get the 500 call out pretty soon, and then we'll go ahead and fly by hand. Okay, let me go ahead and increase my speed before I stall. Yeah, you're right, Mike. Yeah, they updated and I don't know if you watch some of the some of those videos where the programmers are talking, but they've improved a lot on the NXI. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot smoother than it was the other day. And some things are kind of popping up, which I guess that's okay, that's par for the course. Glide speed, rich, full rich. We are now flying by hand. A little more power. Try to get to, there we go. Less airport activity, and so that Got 47. Not too bad. Windsock there, a little bit of a crosswind. Okay, flaps up. 47, 48. Take a look at the left here. 39. So that's not too bad. Maybe I can tweak a few things and go up a little bit more. But get on the ground, we're doing about 40, 48, 50. Got less airport traffic, so maybe that'll be a good thing, because it seems like if you have more airport traffic on there, there's always a car in the way, or a van or something, or a forklift. Go ahead and find a place to park over here. Oh, I should have went along that line there, yellow line. Oh, look at my drone. Okay, bring the drone back. Whoa. That's the other thing too, is that drone really makes your plane balance. Full right rudder. I'm having, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the wind, but I'm having problems steering here in this airport. I got rudder pedals and alrighty, so I'm like doing full right rudder. Just get in there. Alrighty, well, that's it for our performance test there. I didn't have my pitot heat on, didn't need it, but that should do it. And Mike, I hope you have a great evening. Thanks for joining me. And we'll be looking forward to that update tomorrow. Watch this guy right here. He's going to disappear. Watch this. Oh, he's gone. Alrighty. You have a good night.